Morning. Throughout my talk, while sharing a story and ideas, I'll be referencing the chapter of the book Diversity Work in Independent Schools entitled What is the Work by Anthony Witt. Okay, now, everyone do me a favor. Sit up. Sit up straight in your seat, as straight as you can get. Now, close your eyes. That part some of you are already doing, so continue to do it. Focus on my voice and imagine a great round community table. This table is a focal point for all school gatherings. A closer look at the grain reveals century-old oak. It's still sturdy, yet worn from constant use. Imagine, too, that no invitations are required to join the table because every member of the community has a seat with their name engraved on the back. Mixed in with these seats are also plenty of unengraved seats to accommodate new members. All community members take turns speaking with their full, authentic voices. No single member or group dominates the conversation. There is no central facilitator. Members take turns raising questions or making comments organically as the need or the spirit moves them. Now open your eyes before we all start falling asleep here. The goal of those around the table is to create a truly inclusive community that maintains and promotes diverse identities including race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, gender, sexual orientation, language, learning style, and much more. The space is both safe and sacred, so much so that whether the conversation turns to historical milestones, current events, or future plans, the same expectations of mutual esteem prevail. People embrace democratic decision-making and resolve conflict with the vision of doing the right thing, for the right reasons, for the greatest good. The community assumes that every child and adult is able, willing, and in fact expected to achieve great things. People feel included, productive, challenged, and useful. Their lives are enriched because of the multiple perspectives found in the community. The overwhelming feeling is one of love, respect, and joy. As a boarding school with a small-knit community, we have the wonderful opportunity to create our own version of this great round community table here on the hilltop. We have the opportunity to take the first steps towards challenging and difficult conversations. We are able to stand up for what we believe in and have the freedom to speak our mind defending what we believe in. I can't help but think back when I was in high school and how things were back then. Luckily nowadays, teenagers don't seem to be using the words fag or gay as much as they did when I was in boarding school. But from what I remember, every other word out of my friend's mouth during any competition was an F-bomb. Or when we were playing video games and they really meant to say stupid, they always blurted out, "Ah, that's really gay." These words always troubled me because I know firsthand the hidden effect they may have on those bystanders who might be within earshot of your voice. While in high school, I had a friend who never really seemed comfortable with himself, with his sexuality. It was this looming, unspoken thing among students. But everyone somewhat noticed it in one way or another. Whether making jokes behind his back or indirectly around him, jokes were always being made, and without a doubt, feelings were always crushed. One day, during my junior year, I decided I finally had enough. I remember sitting in the student center with a bunch of friends watching football, having a great time. I vaguely remember something exciting happening in the game, where the defensive player made a silly mistake, causing his team a touchdown, and one of the kids I was sitting with screamed, "What a fag! He just caused him the game. He's such an idiot." Being the filterless, outspoken young man I was, I instantly responded, "Why didn't you just say, 'What an idiot, he blew the game,' instead of calling him that word?" My friends, all teammates of mine at the time, were shocked and weren't sure what just happened. Our conversation continued, soon turning into an argument, then back to a conversation again. It was a one-on-five conversation, but I did not back down. I believe that for once, I was feeling what the pressure was like from the other side. I'm not saying I completely stopped my friends from using those words when they really mean to say stupid or dumb, but I know for a fact and can guarantee that going forward from there, those 5 friends that were watching the game with me, without a doubt, thought twice before using the words fag or gay negatively to describe things. Not only for the rest of the game or the rest of the school year, but certainly throughout their life as they went on to college and are now adults. The moment that struck me the most and really made me realize how impactful those words can be happened about a week later. I was minding my own business and getting my work done in a booth at the snack bar when a hand gently placed itself on my shoulder. I was so deep in my work that I didn't really look up to see who it was and just said, "What's up?" A soft voice replied, "I just wanted to thank you for standing up to those guys the other day." I will admit it, I had no idea what he was talking about. But he then told me a story about having gay siblings and how hard things have been for them due to bullying and derogatory comments. I was shocked once again. If I wasn't sitting at the table, my mouth would have dropped to the floor. We chatted for a few minutes, then went on about our day. From that day on, whenever I saw him, there was always an unspoken nod of respect exchanged between us. Later in his career, this young man went on to give one of the most powerful speeches I've ever heard in chapel, about being comfortable in your own skin and with who you are. I had no idea he was in the room that day, but my small act of bravery to step up and speak up when coming across something I knew was wrong, but always afraid to stand up for, really helped him out. Perhaps it was my fear of becoming the victim and thrown into the fire as a recipient of derogatory comments myself, or maybe I just didn't want to risk popularity and go against the wave. Well, I'm not sure what it was that day that finally made me speak up, but I have no regrets. And in fact, I'm proud of myself. Proud not only of the personal strength I gained, but the strength I gave those within earshot of our argument and others who heard what happened that day, allowing them to realize that they had another ally in the community. Now, as I stand before you today, I am not saying I've never used these words myself at one point or another. Like all of you, I am not perfect. No one is, otherwise we would live in a boring, robotic world. However, I came to a point where I realized the damage I was causing some people, directly or indirectly, and worked to change my ways, my vocabulary. As said in the second reading, lead a life worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. In order to lead a life worthy of the calling which we have been called, we must continuously engage in self-reflection. Faculty, staff, and students, I challenge us to engage in continual self-reflection. Rather than shying away from potentially uncomfortable discoveries or conversations, let us seek out those difficult talks. Let us seek to understand how family, friends, and society have shaped our identities. By continuously learning about ourselves, we may better understand and recognize our own assumptions and biases. Ultimately, the self-awareness can serve as a foundation for deeper connections amongst the student body, faculty, and staff. Let's work to become a community where everyone feels the comfortability or ability to be themselves, to share their perspectives and their experiences, knowing that colleagues, classmates, and other members of the community will be thoughtful and show them respect. Let's grow towards a community where we are all open about academic and social challenges, where no one feels embarrassed because, in one way or another, everyone has such challenges, and as a community, we make a point of embracing every student as a whole. I know the road ahead will be tough, and we may encounter many bumps along the way. But united, with the support of one another, I know that we have the ability and opportunities to have meaningful, powerful, and much-needed conversations throughout campus, which will ultimately make us better, not only as students or teachers, but as people. As Knights, from this day on, let our brotherhood grow stronger than it has ever been. Challenge yourself not to be a bystander. Challenge yourself to stand up for whatever it is you believe in. Don't just wait for a wave to come so that you can jump on it. Create your own wave and get as many people as you can surfing it with you. The time is now. Don't be a person who looks back in 5 years and thinks, I could have been magnificent, but I was afraid. In 5 years, be the person telling the story of how fear tried to stop you and cheat you out of the best things in life, but you didn't let it. In closing, I will leave you with the Martin Luther King Jr. quote that has stuck with me since first hearing it. This quote truly embodies the concept of sticking up for what you believe in. The quote reads as follows. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. I'll give it to you one more time. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. My fellow Knights, find out what matters to you and do not hold on to your silence. Thank you.